Now, I've said this once and I'll say it again, but whenever we address any shenanigans or any subject revolving around George Clooney, you might as well call it Clooney Tunes because it's that crazy. We know that George Clooney really dug a deeper hole for himself when it comes down to his career after really putting out that political commercial, really promoting to lie to either your husband or wife about who you voted for in 2024. That was the very moment in which George Clooney lost millions upon millions of fans. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. Now, one actor in particular that has a very big problem with those like George Clooney, Julia Roberts, Alec Baldwin, and many others out there within the Hollywood bubble, within the film industry, those of which are no longer really relevant, we know that Mel Gibson has been calling them out specifically and really putting them in the hot seat, and honestly, rightfully so. We know that they deserve everything that they're getting right now because of what they told the general public. Let's not forget about what George Clooney said around 2.5 months ago, that you should not trust your inner social circle or your neighbors or anybody like that, that you should really look up to these celebrities instead, those that quote-unquote follow rules. That's when really a lot of his fans just checked out right then and there. But what's interesting here about Mel Gibson is that we know that he is continuing to put these celebrities in their place and really giving them a taste of their own medicine when it comes down to their overall current status of getting now rejected by their own fan base, right? What's interesting here has a lot to do with Mel Gibson really putting George Clooney in his place finally. Now, what's interesting is that with many actors and actresses getting tons of heat and backlash from the general public for getting way too involved in politics, one major development now involves more to do with both Mel Gibson and George Clooney, where Gibson humiliated George Clooney in the most unexpected way possible after George lost millions of fans after his political commercial backfired. Mel Gibson delivered the following. You see, the problem that we are dealing with right now is that we have too many actors acting like politicians. It's one thing to express your opinions with politics, yes, but once you start going full George Clooney and acting like you are a literal politician by getting very close to those like Obama, that's when you know you are a phony and you are only using your platform to actually sort of put things like DEI up on a pedestal. That was Clooney's first mistake. I mean, did you see that commercial? What in the hell was he thinking doing the commercial with Julia Roberts? Lying to your spouse on who you are voting for? What the hell was that? I mean, man, if there was one way to end your career in a matter of 1 week, that was it. And look, I will admit I have made my own mistakes that I feel terrible for, but to deliberately get involved in a commercial to promote lying to either your husband or wife was just so crazy to me. I couldn't believe that what I was watching. That was the wake-up call that I think that we realized this current version of Hollywood was just too corrupt and involved in politics. That's what I had an issue with, and I'm glad I have this opportunity now to serve as this messenger of sorts for this area that holds so many opportunities once we get rid of all this DEI nonsense. I think it would be best for George to stay in Italy and never come back to the States for a long while, because that was it for him. Nobody wants to hear stuff like that on television and how he got involved with Julia Roberts in that thing. It was insanity, but yet not so surprising because we all know they are very close friends. You are an actor. Stay in your lane and act. I know my place. I just do my job. I will express my political beliefs, yes, but I'm not going to get so involved as to force it on others or to promote these toxic things onto society like lying to one another. So again, let me just say one thing about Mel Gibson before I move on, is that he really is rightfully putting George Clooney in the hot seat, really calling him out, exposing him for what he really is. George really tried to act like a politician. We all know that he's very close with Obama. And that's why a lot of fans of George Clooney really slowly but surely, but in 2024, quite rapidly, decided to jump ship. Decided to just call it quits with George Clooney altogether, no longer watching his original stuff, his past work, and some of his newer work like Wolf's. We know that George Clooney at the same exact time really is holding no intention of coming back to the United States as frequently as he used to. That is a sure thing. He's staying in Italy more than normal at this point. And I think at the end of the day, look, we know that George Clooney and Julia Roberts, they really made the first big mistake, like Mel Gibson called out there, is getting involved in a commercial like that wasn't even kind of vague. They literally outright said that you should lie to your spouse or your husband. They actually believed in that. And that was the big moment in which George and Julia realized that their careers were just over in a matter of like 24 hours. You know, especially within what Mel Gibson said, within a week, because that commercial was spreading and it was really a viral thing, just going everywhere. But what's interesting about this, yet again, is that we know that Mel Gibson really doesn't hold back. He is a supporter of Sylvester Stallone, Jon Voight, James Woods, these, great actors, by the way, that really are very passionate about their work. Now, moving onwards, he goes on to conclude, it's just mind-boggling that this is where some of these A-list stars are at right now, once they aren't getting the roles that they want in 2025. I think it's time that we take a step back and look at actors. Oh, you act, or you sing, or okay, then, well, with politicians, then that's your thing. You don't act, you don't sing, just do your job, man, and that's it. I don't understand why we have so many like Clooney, De Niro, and others getting so defensive. Maybe there is something else going on there, I don't know. I don't want to rush ahead with anything, but perhaps they are defending something that we are unaware about. Who the heck knows at this point? We just need to improve ourselves as actors to entertain as best as we can. It's why I look up to Stallone and others. So again, we know that Mel Gibson is a passionate actor as much as Sylvester Stallone is with the upcoming projects that they are creating as we speak. Sylvester Stallone, I really do like him specifically because he has a lot of projects lined up like Tulsa King. He's got other movies lined up that he's either producing or directing or even getting involved in as an actor that's to be announced. We'll have a lot more to talk about that in about 2 months from now. But we know at the same exact time, we have Sylvester Stallone, who also had a lot of internal problems with different studios like ABC, when Jimmy Kimmel really didn't want him on his show to express his political opinion. He actually silenced Sylvester Stallone, made jokes about him, and it just goes to show you at this point in time, in the middle point of the 2020s, that there really is a really big divide because of people like that. Because of people like Kimmel, Robert De Niro, Alec Baldwin, Julia Roberts, George Clooney. I mean, I can go on and on all day naming these individuals of who's really contributing to the division within the United States when it comes to entertainment, whether it's movies, television, music, video games, comics, whatever it may be. That's exactly what's going on here, and Mel Gibson, I think, puts it together very perfectly here by calling it out for what it really is. These actors getting way too involved in their political beliefs and forcing it onto the public, forcing it onto their fans especially, and it's driving away their fan base. That's why they're not getting the roles that they want to anymore. That's why they're really resorting to these lower budget studios and lower budget projects. These, more independent-driven projects, so to speak. But overall, I would like to hear what everyone has to say about Gibson, about George Clooney, about everything else going on there. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.